Good morning, television family. We are back after a 3-day weekend. Labor Day is in the books. It is Tuesday, 2nd day of September, 2025. I am Dan Kuntz. A friendly reminder that Mother Nature gets to call the shots. Now, most people associate Labor Day weekend with the end of summer, the beginning of fall. It's a new month. It's September. Days get shorter. It gets cooler. Not going to be the case. We are still under a heat advisory. Good news, the heat advisory expires at 11 o'clock this morning. It'll be replaced by an extreme heat warning for pretty much the rest of the week until Thursday night at 8 o'clock. It is going to be a very hot few days. Going to set some record highs. Probably not today, but certainly Tuesday and Wednesday. We're also going to set some record warm overnight lows too. No escaping the heat. It's just going to continue. It was a pretty warm weekend. 94 on Sunday, 90 yesterday, and you see the haze behind me. Bunch of little fires. Had some lightning strikes on Saturday and Sunday. No one really big fire, just a whole bunch of little fires. We'll talk about that when we get to the news. If you were to spend any time at all outside of the weekend and you were in the Wenatchee Valley, you saw the planes flying down in parade formation, scooping up the water out of the Columbia and taking off to Mission Ridge, Lake Wenatchee, the enchantments. We'll talk about that when we get to the news, but it's going to be hot. Very warm indeed. Lots of sports to get to. The Mariners have to stop playing on the road. They play fine at home. When they're at Safeco Field, they do great, or T-Mobile Park, I should say. On the road, they struggle. And included yesterday down in Tampa. And speaking of sports, this week, our fall prep football preview kicks off. Eastmont's head football coach, Jay Foster, does the honors today, and we'll have it for you for the rest of the week as well, as because we kick off our fall sports season this Friday. It'll leave off the field at the Apple Bowl. It's that time of the year, folks, so Jay Foster, head football coach at Eastmont High School, will do the honors in the back half of the program. It's tour time. It's a busy Tuesday. Let's go. There's the haze. You can see quite plainly the air quality isn't bad right now. I'll double check it here in just a couple of minutes when we're in our commercial break. It's not bad right now, but it could get a little worse. There's a couple of fires in the Lake Wenatchee area. There's a couple of small fires in the enchantment areas. There's the fire that you can see here is the one up Mission Ridgeway near the Beehive. I'll talk about all of that, but we can see it got kind of hazy, and it will be rather hazy throughout the course of the day. Today, tonight, Wednesday, we'll see how good they keep an eye on these fires, but get ready for some hazy conditions. From the Heights camera to Tumwater, the Tumwater Canyon camera. Looking out over Leavenworth, again, you see a lot of haze there. These cameras are up there pretty high, so it might not seem that hazy to the naked eye, but when you put a camera up really high and you have it spread out so you can see a lot of acreage like you can there, it is, in fact, rather hazy. That's our camera just before you head through the Tumwater. And by the way, still doing slope stabilization work in the Tumwater. Pilot controlled traffic, single lane, so slow going through the Tumwater Canyon. And they're still doing the paving project in the Coles Corner area as well. So Highway 2 between Leavenworth and Coles Corner going to be slow going this week. Camera number 3. Ooh, Billy Goat, I have to say. I'm guessing, but I'm pretty sure that's Billy Goat. Let's check in with OMAC here at 69 right now in OMAC, and you can see lots of hazy skies up there too. They got some fires out in the Grant County area that's burning mostly in grassland. The fires closer to the Wenatchee Valley are burning in pretty heavy timber and pretty steep terrain. And camera number 4 takes us to Lake Wenatchee. There is a fire in the Lake Wenatchee area. Again, lightning caused. It's the Cougar Fire. It's about 3 acres. They're working on it. They're dumping, the helicopters have been dipping down into Lake Wenatchee and heading up to take on that fire. That fire is about 11 miles northeast of Lake Wenatchee. If you're familiar with that area, it's along the Tyee Ridge. That's why it seems like it's quite smoky in Lake Wenatchee, because it is. The heat wave. Here we go, folks. If you see yellow, Wenatchee, by the way, is at the bottom of your screen. Take a look at where you live or where you plan on going. If it's in yellow, that means we're going to set some records, not only afternoon highs on Wednesday and Thursday, but also the overnight lows. We're going to have some record warm lows. Not today. We didn't do that today because we're down to 68 degrees, but we're probably going to do it on Wednesday and Thursday and possibly Friday. So whatever temperature that you see is in yellow, either for the high temperatures on your right or the low temperatures on your left means we are going to break some records. Everybody's going to be breaking records on Wednesday, and most people will be seeing record high temperatures on Thursday as well. Not a big relief for the weekend, too, for that matter. First work day of every month, we check in with the Climate Prediction Center for the month outlook. Now, kudos to the Climate Prediction Center because they nailed August right on. I mean, they said August was going to be quite warm, certainly warmer than normal, and it was. I don't have the August statistics yet. I'll do that for you tomorrow when we get to that. But right now, it looks like about equal chances of seeing normal temperatures for the month of September, and I'm all for that. And as far as precipitation is concerned, we're leaning just a little bit maybe above normal, not a lot above, and most of that is going to be relegated to western Washington. Keep in mind, September is, in fact, pretty dry. One of the driest months of the year is September. So even though we're leaning slightly above normal for precipitation, that means we could get actually very little, and we, of course, are in a significant drought. Sunrise this morning was at 6:22, sunset tonight 7:38. 13 hours, 17 minutes of daylight. We're still losing about 3 minutes a day. From the National Weather Service, hazy skies most of the day today. It's going to be hot with a high of about 98 degrees, close to a record high. This is what we're talking about. Look how warm those overnight lows are going to be. The haze is going to keep us, and the hot temperatures are going to keep us quite warm in the overnight hours. 72 for the overnight low tonight into Wednesday. We get to 102 Wednesday, that'll be a new record. If we get to 99 Thursday, that'll be a new record. If we get to 95 on Friday, close to a record. Some relief on Saturday and Sunday, and maybe even, believe it or not, a chance of rain on Monday. I wish I'd said a 100% chance of rain. It says 30. Beggars can't be choosers, but it is going to be a very hot start to September. What's making news on this Tuesday? Fires, lots of them. We'll have that in 2 minutes. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCWLIFE channel.
There's no place like home, because home is where we're totally comfortable. It's where we can be ourselves and let our guards down. It's where we make memories, and we're always imagining new ways to keep it totally comfortable. Carrier, total comfort, totally happy.
Call Alpine Air Heating and Cooling today. Your comfort is their priority.
Hi, I'm Amanda Walden with A. Walden Insurance Group. Medicare can be overwhelming, but you don't have to figure it out alone. I've been helping people understand their Medicare options for over a decade. Medicare isn't a one-size-fits-all. I'll help you understand your coverage options so you can feel confident in your decisions. Let's find the right Medicare plan for you. Call me today or come and see me at my office located on South Chelan Avenue in Wenatchee between the YMCA and the Social Security office. I look forward to meeting you soon.
Tour Moses Lake just a gas tank away. With its abundance of outdoor activities, Moses Lake is a great place to visit. From fishing and boating to exploring the city's attractions, there is no shortage of things to do. Whether you're enjoying any one of the variety of restaurants with the family or an adventure-filled day with friends, Moses Lake has something for everyone. Tour moseslake.com and start your adventure today.
Central Washington Water understands the power of healing waters. If part of your wellness routine includes hot heat from a sauna, Central Washington Water now carries indoor and outdoor infrared and hot rock saunas by Tilo. Research shows there are many health benefits to a cold plunge after a good workout or relaxing time in your sauna. Harness the power of water in a hot spring spa, plug-and-play spas, a Tilo sauna, or a cold plunge tub. Stop by Central Washington Water, your wellness experts.
Hazy skies, 68 degrees, close to 100 today, over 100 tomorrow. We're going to break a record high on Wednesday and Thursday probably. And again, it's going to be hot all week long, unseasonably warm for this time of the year. Afternoon highs a good 17 to 20 degrees above normal. It's about 10 minutes after the hour. There are a number of smaller fires that broke out over the weekend due to lightning strikes, some on Saturday, most on Sunday. The one that we just showed you up Lake Wenatchee Way, that's when the Cougar fire broke out. That's about 11 miles northeast of Lake Wenatchee along the Tyee Ridge. It's about 3 acres. Smoke jumpers, repellers, and a helicopter are working on that fire. Again, that's the Cougar Fire, 11 miles northeast of Lake Wenatchee. 2 fires just east of Plain. The bigger one is on Lower Sugarloaf. It's about 10 acres. They got a 20-person hand crew on that, engines, and yeah, they're dropping water on that. Water being dipped out from a helicopter being dipped out of Lake Wenatchee. That is 5 miles east of Plain, the Sugarloaf Fire. There's 2 fires there. The Jack Creek Fire and the Stewart Lake Fire are up in the Enchantments in the Alpine Lakes Wilderness just south of Stewart Lake. It's a very small fire, less than an acre. The Jack Creek Fire, they got smoke jumpers on that. And then the Stewart Lake Fire, also burning in the Alpine Lake Wilderness, is another very small fire, less than an acre. And the one closest to the Wenatchee Valley that you could see pretty easily over the weekend, they're calling it the Mission Ridge Fire. It's in the vicinity of the Beehive Reservoir. It's about 2 to 3 acres in size. It's burning in timber and grass and a large group of trees. That's the fire you can see from Wenatchee. They got crews on that, and as you can see, aerial support if you were outside at all over the weekend. Lots and lots of aerial support of airplanes dipping water out of the Columbia River. We'll keep a close eye on all these fires. None of them are very big. We'll keep a close eye on these throughout the course of the day today. Well, the McNeil Canyon Road Safety Project remains suspended because of a union strike. It's affecting several eastern Washington cities. According to the Tri-City Herald, members of the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 302, they've been on strike since August 12th after rejecting contract negotiations with the Associated General Contractors. The McNeil Canyon Road Project began in June. Workers participating in the strike are employees of the Seattle-based contractor Scarcella Brothers. Now, in an email to us, County Communications Specialist Paige Scott says, under state law and the terms of the contract with the Scarcella Brothers, the county cannot interfere or resume the work itself. Scott said the county is actively monitoring the situation. They're maintaining communications with the contractor and will provide the public with information as it becomes available. In the meantime, they're not working on it. One thing they are going to be working on next week, the Knapp's Hill Tunnel. The Washington State Department of Transportation is going to close the Knapp's Hill Tunnel starting next Monday to replace its failing lighting system. According to the DOT, the project will replace the lights, their conduits, the wiring, and the structures that support them. The new lighting system will be more modern, and it will have a redundancy system, a backup system, in case of blackouts. The tunnel will be closed in its entirety for the duration of the project. It's set to begin next Monday, September 8th, and run through September 24th. Of course, there'll be detours around the tunnel on Highway 971, the Navarre Coulee, and of course Highway 97 on the east side of the Columbia. Neither detour, by the way, has a weight restriction there. The Everett Fusion Company Helion needs a conditional use permit from Chelan County to build its proposed energy center, and the public comment period on the CUP ends this Thursday. Helion filed its application on July 29th, seeking to generate fusion power on the portion of the Chelan County PUD's 401-acre Rock Island Dam property. In a press release in February, Helion's communications director, Jesse Barton, said that the company hopes to begin generating fusion power in 2028 if all permits are approved in a timely manner. Public comments must be mailed to the Chelan County Department of Community Development and asked to include the sender's name, current address, and original signature. The Chelan Douglas Regional Port Authority held a ribbon-cutting ceremony on Wednesday to celebrate the $7.7 million remodel of the General Aviation Terminal at Payne-Bohr Memorial Airport. Present at Wednesday's ceremony, the CEO of the port, Jim Kuntz, Airport Director Trent Moyers, and others who voiced their support of the remodel and the benefits it'll have for the local general aviation community.
We got the GA terminal building behind us. It's a new $7.7 million investment, and I will be thanking a host of you for helping with that. On September 2nd, the main runway closes. We're doing a complete rehabilitation of the main runway at a cost of $20 million. This building behind me was constructed as an aircraft hangar in 1956. So that building, believe it or not, is 69 years of age. Does not look like it. So it was originally an example of mid-20th century aviation architecture. Its most distinctive feature, obviously, is its barrel roof. And so this hangar qualified for criteria for listing under the National Register of Historic Places. And so we did a historic renovation.
It's one of the first places I stopped on my tour when I was interviewing for the job here. Ron Russ had taken me around and showing me the sights and sounds and smells of the airport. And we stopped and looked at this, and it had all three. And so we've got to do something about that building, and that was 13 years ago. So as a former executive director used to say for the Port of Chelan, another overnight success. So 13 years, and when we first saw it, and Ron and I had talked, we need to do something. We had thought, well, let's get rid of the popcorn ceiling, let's fix the uneven floor, let's maybe get rid of some mold. We did not envision this. We need to think bigger, I think is what I learned. That was the lesson there.
General aviation is something that a lot of people in the community don't understand. It is much more than the folks that just want to go for a joyride in a small light airplane, or people that fall into a specific financial category. It's a really broad group of all aviation that is not scheduled airport airline service or military operations. Pretty much if it flies and it's out of those two categories, that's general aviation. And a little less than 2 years ago, we held a benefit dinner dance with the big band here in this building. I think it was the last event in the building. And it was pretty rough. It was really rough. The siding was missing on part of the side of it. Insulation was falling out. We had a couple of different groups that had come into the area, and frankly, it was a little embarrassing to bring them into here. And now we have this beautiful gym to share with not just this community, but with all of the community that comes in to the Chelan and Douglas area through the Pangbourne Airport. So you can think of the sky as the freeway. The airports are the on-ramp and off-ramp. If you don't have an on-ramp or an off-ramp for the air freeway, nobody stops here. And we used to hear all the time people would stop somewhere else because it was a little nicer, or they had better facilities, or fuel, or staff, or whatever the issue is. And this is a huge step forward for the Wenatchee Valley.
And finally, on this Thursday night marked the last City Council meeting for Wenatchee City Administrator Laura Gloria. She has departed the role after 5 years with the city and 2 as its lead manager. Police Chief Edgar Reinfeld will fill in while the city undertakes a national search for Gloria's replacement. Mayor Mike Poyer had these words of farewell.
So it's emotionally hard, and I just want to publicly tell our city administrator, Laura, thank you for guiding me and guiding the city council and guiding the directors and guiding our city to continue a great direction. So there's a certificate here, and I just keep on reading it, and for exemplifying exceptional work, ethic, and a high degree of integrity displayed every day on the job, and for dedication in serving the citizens of Wenatchee in a cost-effective, efficient manner. Thank you for all your help, and you'll be missed.
And that's what's making news on this Tuesday. Even though we had a 3-day weekend, they kind of sort of didn't. As you know, news happens even when we're not here, and we'll let you know what happened throughout the course of the day today with the news tonight. At 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock, the NCWLIFE Evening News, 5, 6, and 10 on television. If you were unplugged, no big deal. It'll be online on our homepage, ncwlife.com, right around 5 o'clock. You can also watch the evening news by going to our YouTube page. We're on Roku. We're on the Fire Stick, which I think is an Amazon product. We're on Apple TV. We're everywhere. And we even have an app, which occasionally works. And if you have a news tip, get a hold of us. News at ncwlife.com. It was a busy weekend in sports. I'll wrap it up in 2 minutes. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCWLIFE channel.
Fibercrete fireproof safety rooms can be the difference between life and death for you and your family. Typical fireproof safety rooms are 8x8 fibercrete panels providing a solid sanctuary. Fibercrete safety rooms can be above ground, buried underground, or built within new home construction. Best of all, a safety room by Fibercrete is very affordable. Call 360-770-2088. You owe it to your family to find out more about Fibercrete safety rooms.
Experience the music of ABBA with Abra Cadabra, coming to the Wenatchee Valley for the first time this fall at the America Performing Arts Center, September 21st. Don't miss this family-friendly stage extravaganza, receiving rave reviews from coast to coast. For tickets and info, go to iloveabba.com. That's iloveabba.com.
Craving fresh Asian comfort food? Steam Panda is Wenatchee's popular family-friendly Asian restaurant. They focus on providing guests with delicious, healthy, fresh, and natural dishes for an affordable price. It's time to enjoy one of their many popular house-made soup dumplings, ramen noodles, or pho dishes. And make sure to ask about their lunch and chef specials on sushi rolls. Steam Panda's Hawaiian poke bowl and salads are excellent with your favorite boba tea. Stop by or order online at Steam Panda today.
Caught in a conflict? Family, workplace, neighbor, business, housing disputes? Wenatchee Valley Dispute Resolution Center provides mediation services, a cost-effective and efficient way to provide a written resolution to disputes and issues. Plus, we offer mediation training and community education on conflict resolution and communication skills. Contact us to learn more.
Sports at 22 minutes after the hour. Shane Baz had an 8-game losing streak until yesterday. He pitched 6 shutout innings. Tampa Bay beat the Mariners 10-2 last night. So 4 in a row now for Tampa Bay. But for the Mariners, they have lost 14 out of their last 20 road games.
Into right center field. Rodriguez on the move. That ball deep into right center. And Canzone out there having trouble getting the handle on that one. And that ball is out of here. Boy, Canzone went all the way back to the wall. And I think he's thinking, oh, he lost his glove. And the fans giving him his glove back. And let's see if we can zero in on what exactly happened out there. Right now, it's a home run. Into left center field on the run of Rosarena. Can't get there, over his head. Going to roll all the way to the wall. Yandi's going to be waved around third. There will be no throw on the double by Lau. The Rays pick up another run. Diaz scores. Just in case, or maybe just for fun. And here's a line drive base hit off the bat of Caminero. Brandon Lau rounding third. He's going to score. And now here goes Caminero for second. He's going to be out there. He drives in the run. Brandon Lau scores, and Caminero, when that throw went all the way through.
Keep Chandler doing a single.
That's going to be a fair ball. We'll go all the way back into the right field corner. Cortez will score. Here comes Simpson. He will score. It's a double for Yandy, and the Rays tack on 2 more. Last tickets. Caminero up the middle. That ball will go through. Here comes Yandy. He's going to score. The throw comes all the way through. On an RBI single, Caminero picking up his 3rd hit. And he makes the 3-2. Swung on and a high shot deep into right center field. That's got carry and is gone. Home run, Tristan Gray. A 2-run shot. That's his 2nd home run. And the Rays tack on 2 more to make it a 10-0 ball game.
Fly ball, right field. Leo Rivas leaves the yard to right. His first game back with the Mariners since early this season, and he clubs his first career Major League home run. Leo Rivas, congratulations.
We're going to want that ball back. This is a slider that he hangs and he absolutely covers it. What a pretty swing.
And a tapper by the mound, picked up by Lau, throw to first in time.
Well, Rays right-hander Drew Rasmussen will take on Seattle's Brian Wu. Come on, Brian, we need you, buddy. Series continues tonight. First pitch on Root Sports is at 4:35. AL West scoreboard from yesterday. Houston won. They beat the Angels. Texas has been playing very good baseball lately. Took them 10 innings, but they knocked off the Diamondbacks. The A's knocked off St. Louis, so Seattle now finds themselves 3 games behind Houston in the American League West. As far as the wild card is concerned, here are your standings now. Seattle trails Houston by 3 games, as I mentioned, in the division. They lead the Rangers by a game and a half. For the final wild card spot is the 3 division winners, and then the 3 non-winners, regardless of division, with the best record. So right now, if the season ended today, and it doesn't, Seattle would make the playoffs, but they haven't been playing particularly good baseball lately. College football over the weekend. On Saturday, Eastern Washington traveled to Incarnate Word. I don't know where it is, but they lost. Cougars played really ugly. I mean, really ugly, but they beat Idaho 13-10. Huskies pulled away in the 4th quarter to knock off the Colorado State Rams 38-21. Seattle Seahawks kick off their season Sunday afternoon at Lumen Field against the 49ers. As of this morning, San Francisco is a 2.5-point favorite to beat the Hawks. Coach Mike McDonald says that fact doesn't mean much to him.
I think you're just, I mean, look, you know how we roll at this point. We got to focus on us going out and playing Seahawk football from the first snap to the last. That really is our focus. If you try to make it too complicated, you get all out of whack. At some point, yeah, I mean, there's things to have motivation material, bulletin board material, things like that. Probably keep it in-house when we use it, but I think you can tell it's just kind of like whatever to us right now.
Seahawks and 49ers, 1:05 Sunday afternoon on Fox. Well, our fall sports broadcast schedule starts Friday night. Lee Bofto Field at the Apple Bowl. The Wenatchee Panthers host the Lake City Timberwolves from Lake City, Idaho. Grant Olson and Brandon Harley will have a call. Pre-game 6:30, kickoff at 7 o'clock. Eastmont will open their season Saturday afternoon against Bonnie Lake at the Apple Bowl. The field at Wildcat Stadium not yet ready, so the game's been moved to Wenatchee. Coach Jay Foster told our own Eric Granstrom that the Wildcats will throw the ball a lot more this season than they have in years past.
We've worked hard with Peyton in particular about being able to throw a football. You know, we've always been able to run the ball here, and that's never been an issue. When Luke grew and we were able to throw the ball more, we became more dangerous. And so we really put an emphasis on that this year with him during the off season and then all during the summertime to realize that if we're going to be successful, we're going to be as good as I think we can be, we have to be able to throw the football. We have to make people play us honestly in both phases of the game. So we put a big emphasis on that. We got Bodie and Austin, who everybody knows about. We have Ethan Ekporiete, who is as fast, if not faster than Austin, and bigger. He's 6 foot, 195 pounds. He's going to be a sophomore. We have Javin Britton, who worked his tail off during the offseason, who is a little meathead. Is, you know, I mean, when I say that, I'm saying that lovingly. Strong as all get out, can run. He worked on catching a football this year. So we have 4 guys, and that doesn't include Peyton, who I believe is the fastest guy on the team. That doesn't include that. We got 4 guys that I think can go 70 anytime they touch the ball.
And again, Eric's complete conversation with Coach Foster will air in the back half of the program. And again, that game has been moved from East Wenatchee to Wenatchee on Saturday afternoon. We'll have that game as well with Grant and Eric on the call. And those are just some of the games that people are playing for your obscure holiday. If you went to college and you followed whatever sports team your college happened to field, today is National College Colors Day today. So wear the colors of your favorite college or university. This is a fascinating statistic that I came across. The sport that most colleges and universities participate in is basketball. There are 2,197 men's and women's basketball teams at all levels in colleges and universities. A close second is cross country, which makes sense because it's pretty cheap. There are 2,065 NCAA cross-country teams, and baseball and softball combined is third at 1,952. So pretty much every college and university, regardless of level, has at least a men's and women's college basketball teams, and a lot of them have cross-country too. Wear your college colors today. It's the bottom of the hour. Today in history, the Great Fire of London breaks out September 2nd, 1666. It would burn for 3 days. Wood, fabrics, thatch, oil, pitch, tar, tallow, fat, sugar, alcohol, turpentine, gunpowder, all in a close proximity to each other. You're going to have a fire. There were 80,000 people who lived in London in 1666. When the fire was done, 70,000 of the 80,000 residents had lost their home, and they blamed it on Robert Hubert. He claimed he was an agent of the Pope. He said he started the Great Fire. He later changed his story to say, well, I didn't start the fire. Then he changed it again and said, I did start the fire. Robert Hubert was convicted, although there was some misgivings that he was actually mentally capable of standing trial. Didn't matter, got to blame somebody. So they hung Robert Hubert less than a month later after the Great Fire of London, and then it became apparent, they discovered after they hung Robert Hubert, that he wasn't even in London when the fire broke out. He was on board a ship in the North Sea. But you got to blame somebody. Happy birthday to the United States Department of the Treasury. That is the Treasury Department building. President Harry Truman appointed Georgia Nice Clark as the first female treasurer in 1949. We're talking about the Treasurer of the United States, the other autograph that you see on your paper currency. Since then, every subsequent treasurer of the United States was a woman until this last May, when Brandon Beach was appointed the Treasurer of the United States by President Trump. They don't need Senate confirmation for that anymore. I checked this morning. The national debt, as of this morning, at about 5 o'clock, $37,309,461,000,000 roughly. That comes out to $108,000 for every person in America, $323,000 in debt for every taxpayer in America. So what you see there is a big building with nothing in it. September 2nd, 1912, there it is. Arthur Rose Eldred is awarded the very first Eagle Scout by the Boy Scouts of America. It was incepted in 1911, so he was the first one a year later. Only 4% of all Boy Scouts get the rank of Eagle Scout. Among famous Eagle Scouts, Gerald Ford, the only president who was an Eagle Scout. At least 40 astronauts, former governors Dan Evans and Gary Locke, filmmaker Steven Spielberg, Michael Moore, businessman Michael Bloomfield, Sam Walton, they were Eagle Scouts. So was Arthur Gary Bishop. He was an Eagle Scout. He was executed for murdering 5 boys. John Edwin Robinson, he was an Eagle Scout. He killed at least 8 people in the Midwest over a period of 16 years. And the youngest ever Eagle Scout, 12 years old, Charles Whitman, was the guy who went up in the Texas Tower in August of 1966 and killed 16 people. So you can't bat 1,000. It's all over. September 2nd, 1945, 80 years ago today, the Japanese Instrument of Surrender is signed by Japan and all the major warring powers aboard the battleship USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay. Of course, for a number of years, the USS Missouri was docked in Bremerton, and you could stand right there where they signed the surrender papers. I remember going to that. It's pretty sobering. 80 years ago today, the war is over. And 57 years ago today, the very last Pacific Coast League game played in Seattle. The Seattle Angels, a farm club of the Los Angeles Angels, beat Spokane 4-1. The next year, Major League Baseball would come to Seattle for 1 year. Birthdays, a couple of heavenly birthdays. I met John Thompson once. He's an intimidating guy. He was inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame, the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame, coached Georgetown to the 1984 National Championship. That's where I met him. John Thompson, born in the state in 1941. The great Billy Preston, of course, played with the Beatles. Will It Go Round in Circles, Nothing from Nothing, Outer Space, the great Billy Preston, born in the state in 1946. Terry Bradshaw, the very first quarterback to win 3 Super Bowls and the very first quarterback to win 4 Super Bowls. Not bad. He's in the Hall of Fame, class of 1989. He's 77 years old today. Krista McCullough, who was supposed to be the first civilian in space, didn't make it. The school teacher from New Hampshire, born in the state in 1948. And Salma Hayek is 59 years old today, and who's kidding who? She looks pretty good for 59. For heat and air, call Alpine Air. For heat and air, call Alpine Air. They are our platinum sponsor. Mike Benatti's not a big fan of changing the clock twice a year. Neither am I. We'll have that. And then Eric Granstrom had a chance to visit with Eastmont High School football coach Jay Foster. We'll have that when we come back. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCWLIFE channel.
Is your yard outdated, overgrown, or just not working for your lifestyle? At Bailey's Pro Landscaping, they specialize in transforming ordinary outdoor spaces into beautiful, low-maintenance landscapes built for Central Washington living. From custom designs to full installation, they bring expertise, creativity, and craftsmanship to every job. Your yard has potential. Start your project with Bailey's Pro Landscaping.
It's the NCWLIFE Community Calendar, a presentation of Apple Valley Honda. The Chelan County Fair returns September 4th through the 7th at the Fairgrounds in Cashmere. Thursday is Senior Day. Folks 62 and older get in for free until 4 p.m. On Thursday night, it's the Boy Band Review taking the stage. Friday, it's multi-platinum country artist Matt Stell with special guest Jessica Lee. And Saturday and Sunday, it's the PRCA Rodeo. All of these attractions are free with your ticket to the fair. Foothills Magazine invites you to Eastern Washington's premier food and wine event, the Wenatchee Wine and Food Festival, Saturday, November 8th. Celebrate the region's best wines, savor delicious bites from top local chefs, and enjoy craft beer, cider, live entertainment, and more. All guests receive a keepsake wine glass, and our exclusive VIP experience offers even more to sip and savor. Tickets are limited. Get yours now at WenatcheeWineandFood.com.
This is Phyllis. At 92 years young, her typical day starts out on the course.
Last year, I golfed over 300 days. In 2002, when I got my first hole-in-one, Abby's gave me a free pizza. Over 20 years later, I'm still golfing and I'm still eating their pizza. I just think Abby's is legendary.
Abby's, legendary pizza for legendary people.
This is Mike Mad Dog Magnati, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Since 18-year-olds got the vote in about 1971, I have only voted for a Democrat in a major election twice. The first time for McGovern in 1972. You know, hippie days, Vietnam, all that stuff. You know how it was. However, when one of our U.S. senators, Patty Murray, said she would try to end the asinine twice-a-year time change, I wrote to her and said, Patty, if you can get this done, I will vote for you. Once. Now, evidently, she reintroduced the Sunshine Protection Act bill to eliminate the idiocy of twice-a-year time changes in January of this year is when she introduced it. Now, so you go, Patty. You get this done, and I will keep my word, and I will vote for you. Once. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnati, and that's my opinion.
Fibercrete fireproof safety rooms can be the difference between life and death for you and your family. Typical fireproof safety rooms are 8x8 Fibercrete panels providing a solid sanctuary. Fibercrete safety rooms can be above ground, buried underground, or built within new home construction. Best of all, a safety room by Fibercrete is very affordable. Call 360-770-2088. You owe it to your family to find out more about Fibercrete safety rooms.
When your heating or cooling system is giving you trouble, call the diagnostic doctor from Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning.
Here's the culprit right here.
All joking aside, when you call Dick's, you're calling 35 years of experience at customer service right here in the Wenatchee Valley. Dick's strongly believes in repairing before replacing, and they service all major brands of HVAC units.
Now there are even more reasons to meet at the Pybus Market. Outdoor dining and tastings, the fabulous Farmers Market, Saturday artisans on the concourse, and your favorites all week long. No matter the reason, it's always time to meet at the Pybus Market. Pybus Market, where community meets.
Thanks for joining us here on the NCWLIFE channel. It is our fall football preview 2025 version, which sounds strange. Malcolm and I were just showing up here to Eastmont, and it felt like it was just yesterday. It was a year ago. Jay Foster joining us, second year as head coach at Eastmont. First of all, what was the biggest thing? You've been a head coach before, but what was the biggest thing at Eastmont being a head coach that you learned from last year to this year?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, I've explained it to the guys that I've been involved with. When you're coaching college kids, the high school issues, they've been through them, and I get them after the fact. They still may have fought through and battled through some of those things, but they've made it out the other side. And so now we're trying to take the next step. Here, I'm growing with them, as they grow. So those things that happen, girlfriends, work, or it's not work, but school work, showing up on time, things that happen at home with the family, those now, I'm right in.
Well, let's talk about the off season. It's all about the program. It's all about getting into the weight room and things like that. And how did it go for Eastmont this summer?
Very good again. We had some tremendous gains. We had a couple of guys that set school records in the weight room. I think we had 20 or 22 guys. We electronic time in the 40. We had 20 or 22 guys that broke 5 flat, which has never happened, at least in the 9 years I've been here. So that was huge. So suddenly we've got some more breakaway ability, and the one thing I think that's changed is we're better athletically this year than we've been in a while. And that goes back to the backfield set that we had a couple years back with Gunner and Peyton and Mr. Moore. So we're excited about that end of it. Whether it shows up on the field or not, we'll see.
Well, I was looking at the roster. Obviously, you graduated a bunch of great kids off of last year's team. You got the Zielinski brothers coming back. I'm assuming, I'm looking at a roster. I don't know how they are, what they're up to. Right. Tell me about that and Bodie Yale and, looking at those skill positions on offense.
The beauty of the whole thing, all those all-conference guys that we had last year on both sides of the ball worked their tails off and are physically and athletically much better. We've worked hard with Peyton in particular about being able to throw a football. We've always been able to run the ball here, and that's never been an issue. When Luke grew and we were able to throw the ball more, we became more dangerous. And so we really put an emphasis on that this year with him during the off season and then all during the summertime to realize that if we're going to be successful, we're going to be as good as I think we can be, we have to be able to throw the football. We have to make people play us honestly in both phases of the game. So we put a big emphasis on that. We got Bodie and Austin, who everybody knows about. We have Ethan Ekporiete, who is as fast, if not faster than Austin, and bigger. He's 6 foot, 195 pounds. He's going to be a sophomore. We have Javin Britton, who worked his tail off during the off season, who is a little meathead. When I say that, I'm saying that lovingly. Strong as all get out, can run. He worked on catching a football this year. So we have 4 guys, and that doesn't include Peyton, who I believe is the fastest guy on the team. That doesn't include that. We got 4 guys that I think can go 70 anytime they touch the ball. So the fun's going to be trying to get them all the ball. Right. We'll see what happens, So.
Well, you can have the most talented backfield in the world if you don't have the guys up front.
Correct.
Nothing's happening.
Correct.
So how are you up front, both on both sides of the ball?
We brought a couple guys across, a couple seniors. Riker Hall played linebacker last year. Alex Hampton, who played defensive line last year. We didn't graduate anybody in the D line except for Ricky. Right. And
which is a huge loss.
Yes, but we've we think we've got an answer for that too. That I don't want to say we won't miss Ricky, because losing a 3-time all-conference kid as good as he was, it will be. But the cumulative of all of them that's fun to watch. Plus we have the 2 all-conference linebackers back, right, and Schwab and Schmoo. The secondary, you know, we lost everybody, but we're actually more athletic this year. We're just younger.
Right.
So can we pull that together? Up front on the offensive side, those 2 guys moved that I talked about, and you can tell they're seniors who have been in. I mean, they're both varsity letter winners, so it's not like they didn't play, you know, high school football. Different position, but they've jumped all over it. Plus, Rylan Walt has like just come out of his shell. He's taken over leadership on the offensive line. Rylan played tight end last year. He split time with Dax Dixon, who's an all-conference player.
Right.
And we can't split time with those 2 guys because they're both too good. So Dax is tight end. We move Rylan inside. He's 6'3", 255 pounds, and can run. And he's just, like you said, the light bulb went on for him. And we've had a couple of young guys that have just worked their tails off during the off season who want to play varsity football. We actually think we've got 8 offensive linemen that can play. And that's, I mean, if you get 6, we're happy.
Yeah, no kidding.
We've got 8. That they have gelled. Coach Dupé at JP has done a great job working with those kids and getting them to work as a unit. And they like each other. This is the vibe this year is like it was a couple of years ago. The guys like each other. There's certain expectations they have for each other. And that's been really nice to watch. As I said before, though, it still boils down to you line up and get it done on game day, you know.
Let's talk about camp. You guys did a camp, right?
We did camp down at, were you talking about Central's Washington camp?
Yeah.
Yes, we went down there. We lined up and played everybody. We dominated the majority. I'd call it toss-up in a couple of them. But there were some good football teams over there. So coming out of it, again, felt really good. I try to explain to people that's all well and good, but you know, our issues last year on the offensive side of the ball were we would fumble the ball, put ourselves in 2nd and 14 as opposed to having whatever. We'd get a holding call.
Yeah, it was kind of, I mean, in the 3 losses last year, I mean, it was kind of shot yourself in the foot.
Absolutely,
type of thing.
absolutely. So, you know, those things still have to be cleaned up. We've focused on them. Will it happen? I don't know. You know, you don't know until we get in games. Defensively, it was missing tackles to give up big runs, you know, and we've got to get better at that. So it's all there. Do we perform? Because that's what it's about.
And that's about trusting teenagers you know, with your job. We're going to take a break. We're talking with Jay Foster, getting an East Blount preview. We talked inward. Let's talk outward as far as the Big 9 and what their schedule looks like. We'll do that coming up next here on the NCWLIFE channel.
Hi, I'm Amanda Walden with A. Walden Insurance Group. Medicare can be overwhelming, but you don't have to figure it out alone. I've been helping people understand their Medicare options for over a decade. Medicare isn't a one-size-fits-all. I'll help you understand your coverage options so you can feel confident in your decisions. Let's find the right Medicare plan for you. Call me today or come and see me at my office located on South Chelan Avenue in Wenatchee between the YMCA and the Social Security office. I look forward to meeting you soon.
Is your yard outdated, overgrown, or just not working for your lifestyle? At Bailey's Pro Landscaping, they specialize in transforming ordinary outdoor spaces into beautiful, low-maintenance landscapes built for Central Washington living. From custom designs to full installation, they bring expertise, creativity, and craftsmanship to every job. Your yard has potential. Start your project with Bailey's Pro Landscaping.
Thanks for joining us on the NCWLIFE channel, getting a football preview. Today, the focus is East Blount. We've talked a lot, Jay Foster, about you guys. Let's talk about the other guys. You got Bonnie Lake right out of the gates on a Saturday game, strangely. It gives you like one extra day, right?
Yeah, the guys look at it as a day off, you know?
Yeah.
Again, trying not to, our goal is make sure we get to Bonnie Lake healthy. And so one of the things I try not to do is beat guys up too much.
Yeah.
Make sure they're fresh and ready to go. But yeah, it pushes it back a day. It buys you another day to evaluate, and you know, what do we find something in there? Although the first game is, you know, you might as well take what you got and throw it out the window because you have no idea what's going to show up. You know. But they were big and physical last year, and if we don't score 3 defensive touchdowns in the second half, we go home losers in that game.
Right.
And that was, and I'm not taking anything away from us on defense, but they throw you the football, you got to catch it, and you got to run into the end zone if they give you that opportunity, which we did. But they were physical, hard-nosed, tough. They finished down the stretch. They won their last couple ball games just pounding the snot out of people, you know. And that's something historically we've struggled with, you know. So we'll see how we work there, and then same idea on the offensive side. Can we hang on to the football, not do the silly things that give the other team an opportunity? But it'll be a great test for us coming out. You know, I think just if nothing else, just for the physical football mindset.
Week 2, you're at Post Falls. They came here and put you guys in the nose last week or last year.
Same type of team.
Yeah.
You know, just a physical team, tough team. They're well coached.
What was that, 14-7? It was a one-score game. You guys had the opportunities,
correct.
Right? I mean,
well, it goes back to we had our opportunities. We found a way to give it away, and that's the difference, you know. And you can look at a lot of our games last year and say probably 4 of them could have gone either way. I'm sure the folks at Davis are looking like, you know, if we don't snap the ball over a punter's head, you know, that's a different story.
Right.
You know, Sunnyside's saying if we don't get 2 extra points blocked, that's a different ball game. So, you know, you go into those things and say, all right, it's just, it comes back to, do you just do the basic things and do what you're capable of? You know, they're looking at it like if we make a couple of blocks, that's a different game, you know, both of them. And so you could be 5-5 as opposed to 7-3. So that's all. Again, it all boils down to the basics. Post fall, I like those first 2 teams because they're physical football teams, which if you're going to win at the state playoff level, you better be able to line up against some folks and play physical.
What are we looking at for the Big 9 this year? I mean, Moses Lake
well, you still
the team to beat.
Well, as long as you got
you
got a Division I quarterback.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody knows it. I mean, he's by far, and I don't know what was here prior to me, but I know he's the best quarterback that I've faced in the 9 years here.
Yeah.
You know, by far, and you know, Brett does a great job of putting him in position to make those plays, and they do a great job. You know, for the 3 years prior to, we were able to hang on. We scored some points. We were able to make a handful of plays, which changes the complexion of things, which again goes right back to, I mean, we watched 2 years ago and we beat them pretty well. But when you watch that game, I think we had 4 goal line stands, right?
Yes.
And so there's 28 points that, and even if they just kick field goals, there's 12 points, and that's a completely different game. Different mindset.
There last year he throws the ball around the yard, and everybody's like, can this kid graduate already? For God's sakes.
Exactly. So, you know, that's, to me, that's still, and they've earned that right. You know, we've got to prove that we can stop him and that team. They were great defensively too. Don't forget they shut us out. So it's not like that it's a one-sided football team. So to me, you still got to, we got to go through them. Everybody in the league's got to go through them.
Yeah. We're going to talk to Coach Mitchell coming up here in a couple of days. You got Wenatchee early. It's here for the Bridge of Sportsmanship. What have you heard? What do you know about what's happening across the river?
Well, we actually did a 7-on-7 versus them. I can't think of the young man's name, but I really like their quarterback. I think he's a baseball player too, and he does some really nice things. Was it
Branham? Well, Branham, is he back again?
It's got to be, whoever it was. And I'm not very good with names. I remember jersey
number so-and-so.
Yeah, exactly. I remember jersey numbers.
Right.
But he's a really good football player, which anytime I think you've got that position and that position stands out, you better hope that, you know, you just catch them right. So, you know, we've gone against them. It was Taylor and I have worked together to let's get some competition against each other. We can learn against each other. And so we did that this year, and I think it's a rivalry game. I don't care how good or how bad we are or they are. It is going to be a game, right? And it's just a matter of going right back to who makes the plays. I mean, my first year here, I remember we went for 2 in overtime to beat them. You know what I mean? And at that point, we weren't all that good. You know, we were just turning the corner, and that happened. It was like, I think there was a 14-13 game a year or 2 later. You know what I mean? It's just what it's going to be. I think the lopsided scores that have happened a couple times in there just. It was a circumstance, you know. It just happened. Everything fell into place at that time.
Well, you get a score, and then you get a turnover, and then you get a score quick, and suddenly that's 14 points.
Well, and it's such for the kids, it's such an emotional game. So it's real hard to battle through those lows, you know, especially when they hit you like that. So.
Well, we've got you 4 times on TV this year, so we're looking for some fun there.
Let me know. I'll make sure I have a haircut each time.
We got them for Davis first go around, and then of course Bridge of Sportsmanship. We've got, well, that first game against Bonnie Lake will be here, of course, as well. And then later in the season against Moses Lake, which we expect to be another Donnybrook.
I'm
Jay Foster,
thanks,
thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Best of luck this season.
Thank you.
Keep everybody healthy.
Yes.
That's what I like to say to finish up
Knock
the
on wood.
whole thing. We'll come back and talk about the Kashmir Bulldogs coming up tomorrow as we continue with our football preview here on the NCWLIFE channel.
You trust the same doctor for your health and the same dentist for your smile. Trust Global Car Care to keep your vehicle running strong. We track your car's history so it gets the right care at the right time. With our 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on parts and labor, you'll drive away with confidence. Global Car Care, your automotive experts. We service all makes and models, but specialize in Sprinter vans, Mercedes, Audi, Volkswagen, and BMW. Call or visit us today.
There's no place like home, because home is where we're totally comfortable. It's where we can be ourselves and let our guards down. It's where we make memories, and we're always imagining new ways to keep it totally comfortable. Carrier, total comfort, totally happy.
Call Alpine Air Heating and Cooling today. Your comfort is their priority.
Welcome to Mountain Chick Floral, your go-to flower and plant shop in downtown Wenatchee. Explore their wide variety of unusual and fun plants. And when you buy a plant in a container, they'll pot it up for you absolutely free. Birthday or weddings, they'll create the perfect floral arrangement for you. Brighten up your office with fresh blooms delivered to your door or business. Ask about floral subscriptions. Visit Mountain Chick Floral today, where every occasion is a reason to celebrate with flowers.
It is 70 degrees here in the Wenatchee Valley, or AQI, or Air Quality Index. Also at 70, that means the air quality is moderate, and everybody's right around that 70 mark for the AQI. That includes Kashmir, Leavenworth, Chelan's at 65, Aniette's at 71. We do have some hazy skies because, as you know by now, as we mentioned this, a bunch of small little fires broke out over the weekend in the Enchantments in the Lake Wenatchee area in Plain and up near Mission Ridge. We'll keep a close eye on those fires. Nothing really big yet, but it's going to be a little hazy, and yeah, it's going to be a little hot. Starting at 11 o'clock this morning, the heat advisory goes away, and the extreme heat warning begins at 11 o'clock this morning, lasts through the rest of the week. If that number that you see is in yellow, that means new record high temperatures. Probably not going to do it today for the Wenatchee Valley. We're going to do it Wednesday, probably Thursday as well, and also record warm overnight lows. So if it's in yellow, that means it's a new record breaker. If it's in white, it's still plenty warm. It's going to be just plain hot all week long. From the National Weather Service, summer is not over yet, 98. Our forecast high today with, again, hazy skies. It'll be hazy overnight tonight, 72 for the overnight low. That is very warm. Record high temperature Wednesday, 102, right in the wheelhouse. We'll set a new record on Thursday, 99. Not quite a record high on Friday, but plenty warm for most people. A little bit cooler on Saturday and Sunday, but the extreme heat warning will go until Thursday night. They may extend it through Friday, but it is going to be a very hot and a hazy week for those folks in our viewing area. And that's it for us. Have a good and safe Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.